Hello world, I'm here today to offer you my thoughts on Dizzy, which is the song by Olly Alexander that is going to represent the United Kingdom in the Eurovision Song Contest in 2024. It's just come out today. You will forgive me, therefore, if what I say is pretty much a gut reaction off the hoof. Leaving aside the obvious elephant in the room, and that is why is the rest of the world competing in a contest where also taking part is a country that is committing genocide at the moment. What do I think of the song? When I first heard it, it just went in one ear and straight out the other. It does sound like they have rewritten It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys, made it much shorter, put a whole ton more of artificial production on it, and yeah, the actual song kind of sucks a little bit. I don't think it's going to win, put it that way. I will come back to that in a moment. But yeah, I mean, the song is Dizzy. We know a few songs with Dizzy in, don't we? They usually make us excited. I'm so dizzy, my head is spinning like a whirlpool, it never ends. I'm so dizzy, and it gets us excited. Even the Beatles' rendition of Dizzy Miss Lizzy got us excited, made us want to dance. And I think that's partly to do with, the very rawness of it. It's just a band that have picked up their instruments, and as you'll know from my Anomalies sessions, the Beatles just picked up their instruments and played that song in possibly the worst way that they possibly could. George Harrison's guitar part is full of mistakes, and yet it gets us excited. Olly Alexander does not in any way get you excited. The introduction is a bit like a truncated version of It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys. It's shortened and auto-tuned to with an nth degree. Olly Alexander does not need auto-tune. I understand that auto-tune is a production trick, and if you don't use it, then you're considered as being slightly untrendy, which is why one of the criticisms even levelled at ABBA Voyage was that there was a lot of auto-tune on it. But I think that's not because either of the ladies needed auto-tune on their vocals to get them in tune. They're perfectly in tune anyway. It's just the fact that if you don't have it, then it's untrendy. It's not a la mode, as it were. And here, Olly Alexander obviously doesn't need auto-tune. He's got a brilliant voice. He just hasn't written the best song. And is over-reliant on production. I think, and another thing that we say is plus ça change, plus ça reste la même. Pop stars went from 2.5 minute, maybe even 2 minute long ditties, as it were. Although I suppose it's it's ignorant to call A Hard Day's Night a ditty, but what those sort of, in those 2.5 minutes, the idea was to create a sort of ball of excitement that would just sort of explode within you and make you and lift you. And the whole idea of pop, it's often been said, is that it lifts the very mundane into the artistic and even the spiritual. So a song like A Hard Day's Night, it is a ditty, but it's also a work of art, in that an ordinary thing like, I've been working really hard all day and I come home and I see my woman and I'm happy again, kind of thing. It's pretty normal, but it's just the way that it's being expressed is fantastic. All right. Songs from the late 60s even up to, I would say, the early noughties even, got longer and longer and more convoluted. Some would say pretentious. Muse, what were you doing? Yeah, albums got longer and longer and longer. And here we are in 2024. We have Olly Alexander giving us a 2.5 minute long song. Is it 2.5 minutes? No, it's 2 minutes 53 seconds, just under 3 minutes. Whereas the song he's imitating, as it were, is, I suppose, 4.5 minutes long, 5 minutes long, and goes into various different sections. This does nothing. It doesn't ignite you in the same way that a 2.5 minute pop song from the 60s excited you. Put the Small Faces on, people. Play any of their singles, you will get excited. Let's have a little look at the words to the chorus, shall we? And we'll come back to this chorus in a minute as well. Won't you make me dizzy from your kisses? Will you take my hand and spin me round and round until the moment never ends? Make me dizzy from your kisses. Will you take my hand and spin me? Take me back to the beginning again, again, again. And then that's the end of the chorus. And in that very tiny amount of time, because we've only got 3 minutes, let's say, and we've got two verses, an introduction, which is about 10 seconds, 2 verses, a chorus, a thing called a rap, which we'll come to in a moment, and then a chorus to end it again. So it's half a dozen sections, as it were. So you've only got about 20 seconds on each. So this tiny little chorus of a few seconds, it just keeps drifting. And is it in a major key? Is it in a minor key? I don't know. Where does the actual ground lie? You know how a song, you know when it's come home because you hear a certain chord progression or you hear a certain melodic progression, like leading note to tonic, as it were, and you know that you have come home, and that's where the key centre is. And there doesn't appear to be one in this song. Now you might say, well, that's because you're dizzy. And because you're spinning round, you don't know where you are really. You do feel a little bit woozy. However, in a Eurovision song, it's not really going to cut the mustard to have that amount of kind of rationale and reasoning behind it. And so I couldn't sing you the chorus. I've listened to this song half a dozen times now today. I couldn't sing you the chorus. All I can do is just say that the introduction sounds like the beginning of It's a Sin by the Pet Shop Boys. Talking of the Pet Shop Boys, we have a little bit of a rap here. And it's an English rap. Yeah, so when I first heard West End Girls on Top of the Pops, apart from getting over the shock of looking at them and then realising that actually one of them was quite handsome, it's that rap. And it's an English rap. And it's quite clever the way it's done. And it does kind of take quite a tired theme of, every song in the 80s after Chaka Khan having a rap on it. It's actually really good, and you can understand what he's saying to you, and it makes sense. So, in true Pet Shop Boys fashion, Olly Alexander has got a rap on his song. There isn't an end, there isn't a start. I don't want to stop, I can't go too far. There isn't an end, there isn't a start. I don't want to stop, I can't go too far. Olly, come on! Do you know what I mean? You've written some of the greatest works of the late 2010s, and you are, a really good songwriter. So what the hell? It's just absolute trite. It's like something that George Harrison threw in the bin. Do you know what I mean? It's just not good. Sorry, just sorry to say it and everything. It has a few redeeming factors. It's not hard to listen to. It's not a song that will get on your nerves, get on your nerves, get on your nerves. It does take a while to grow on you, and it hasn't really grown on me yet. It's too, as I say, it's just too flimsy as a song to, you know, I suppose, really grow on me. It's okay. It's okay as a song. I don't think it'll win unless, number one, Olly Alexander, he is very, very well known. So there will be a whole load of fans who will phone up for Olly Alexander just because it's Olly Alexander. Maybe that's a little bit unfair on other contestants who might not be as well known. But hey ho. We've done it before. We've had complete unknowns taking part in the Eurovision Song Contest. And then we've had some very well-known people like Bonnie Tyler and Engelbert Humperdinck taking part. Who were Bardot, for goodness sake. I mean, nobody knew who they were. They didn't win. But, yeah. I don't really think anybody knew who Bucks Fizz were, actually, and they did win. So it's swings and roundabouts, I suppose. So, yeah, he's got that, and he's absolutely beautiful to look at. And that will win him a lot of votes, really. The second thing is that, you know, I've only heard a handful of other entrants to the Eurovision Song Contest, and they all come from Sweden, because basically I looked at one of these sort of countdowny things of all of the acts in the Melodifestivalen, which is the Swedish heats of the Eurovision Song Contest, to decide their entrant. And there's about a 4-minute long video on YouTube, and I'll try and put a little thingy down there where you can see it. You'll hear, basically, that I don't think that there is a Swedish entrant that even comes up to the standards of Dizzy by Olly Alexander. What I heard was absolutely awful. And there's nowhere that sort of just strikes the middle ground of being able to write an absolutely immediate song that, remember, has to appeal to the public, you know, the whole of the listening public. During the pandemic, I actually binge watched a lot of the older Eurovisions. They're all on YouTube somewhere, going right back to 1979. In fact, probably even earlier than that. And it got to a point in the, I think it's like about 92, 93, when they made them the rule where they had to have a certain amount of live performance in the hall. I think they could rely on certain sort of backing bits sort of flown in, as it were, from tapes and what have you. But there had to be a minimum amount of, this is a live concert, therefore we have live musicians playing. They got rid of that law in the early 90s, or that rule, as it were, which basically meant that from then on, people could just sing to any old backing track, and that's not good either. It's got to be a song, not a backing track, a song that actually moves the world. Anyway, it's me going on too long. So good luck to Olly Alexander in Eurovision 2024. With that, I'll leave you. Remember to like, subscribe, share if you dare, consider a super thanks down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!